Hi everyone, this is Jacob with Medapure Products, here to talk about diabetes. A big question out there is, can you reverse diabetes? There's actually hundreds of Google searches that are done every day on this subject, so we thought we'd go ahead and explore that with you today. So before getting into can you reverse it, I want to make sure we make the distinction of what diabetes is. Long story short, it's the inability for the body to produce adequate amounts of insulin or ineffective insulin for the body's demands. And there's really two types of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes, which is genetic, develops inside of the womb. So when the baby is born, their pancreas isn't able to produce the right amount of insulin that the body needs. Then there's type 2 diabetes, and this is the one that's getting a lot more notice as of late because it's acquired, and it's specifically acquired through poor nutrition. So for example, here you see burger and fries. A quick note here is that although there is a large or there is an association rather between being obese and acquiring type 2 diabetes, you can also be skinny or thin and also acquire type 2 diabetes due to lack of nutrition as well. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any misconceptions there. So now the big question is, can you reverse type 2 diabetes? Up to this point, really the clinical sector has focused mainly on pharmaceutical products that try to control blood sugar levels. And understandably so, because excess sugar or blood sugar in the body damages the cells in our organs. It can damage our nervous system, and I'm sure many of you may have had experiences with loved ones or friends that have had someone that have suffered through type 2 diabetes and over a period of time lost maybe sensation in their feet or had to get some kind of an amputation. So while this can help mitigate some of the effects, it's really not a solution really in its entirety. You're not removing the actual problem and not controlling it or reversing it. So going back to the initial question, can you reverse type 2 diabetes? The answer is yes, you absolutely can. So I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what some recent studies have shown. Studies in the U.S. and England have come to the conclusion that approximately 90% of type 2 diabetes patients can reverse their condition through removing excess fat surrounding the pancreas. So once again, the pancreas is the part of the body that's responsible for regulating the insulin levels in the body according to the demand that's needed. And so interesting here to note that these studies that have taken place. So really quick, touching on type 2 diabetes and how it can come to fruition in the body. When there's an excess amount of carbohydrates or fats that we can consume, this ends up being deposited mainly inside of this area of the body. So it doesn't really go here in front of the gut, if you will. It actually resides inside here, nestled by the organs in what's called visceral fat or organ fat. And excess amounts of this kind of fat creates trauma, damage. All right, long story short, you don't have a ton of space in this area, and when there's your organs plus your regular amounts of fat and then excess fat, this ends up damaging the tissue of the organs. So I won't go too much into what happens to other parts of the organs, but we're going to go ahead and focus in here on the pancreas. So what we have here is the pancreas that ends up being covered and a trauma taking place to the pancreas because of this excess fat, and this damages the cells, and then the pancreas can't function effectively. And as a result of that, the insulin levels are not correct, or the insulin that is produced is not as efficient as it should be, and then you end up having this array of blood sugar that takes place in the body. Too much too much sugar in your blood, and then of course developing type 2 diabetes. So how is this reversed? All right, now that we have an understanding of having an excess amount of fat, once again going back here in the body, if that is the root cause, how can we go ahead and reverse it? Well, just like any other chronic issue, you want to go ahead and remove the problem, the root of the problem, not just put a Band-Aid on it. From there, you want to make sure that the cells that have been damaged can heal. And then thirdly, you want to make sure that cells that are not able to heal themselves can be replaced by healthy cells. So following that, that framework, the first thing you have to do, as I mentioned, is remove the root problem. And here we're talking about the excess fat. You have to get rid of the fat that's damaging the organs, in this case the pancreas, that's causing all that trauma. You got to get rid of that. You have to lose the weight, lose the fat, and then obviously eat healthily. From there, you want to make sure you can initiate repair. Okay, the cells need to heal. Once again, you have the pancreas that has been damaged by this pressure and by this excess fat that has been surrounding it. Want to make sure those cells can heal themselves, because if those cells cannot heal themselves, then you're still going to be having inadequate amounts of insulin taking place. So you may be removing the problem, but the pancreas needs to be healed as well. Then lastly, if those cells are not able to heal themselves, have to make sure that those cells can then regenerate or reproduce and replace them. So the body has the ability to distinguish in and of itself, all right, this cell is not working appropriately, it's not healing, let's go ahead and dispose of it and replace it with a cell that is healthy. So we want to make sure that process also is taking place well. So once again, you want to remove the root problem. In this case, you want to lose the weight. But in addition to that, you also want to make sure that your cells are healing appropriately. And what we're going to do is our next video blog that we're going to make next week, we'll discuss some solutions. At Metapure, we actually have our own solution to help control type 2 diabetes and help you to reach that goal in terms of being able to help your body reverse it. So we'll touch on that on next week's post. But once again, this is the framework that's used. Very, very important that you understand that type 2 diabetes can in fact be reversed. You can have a normal lifestyle. Once again, there's definitely a number of people that have been able to do so, but you want to make sure that you understand what you're doing. Please feel free to pass this along to other people. This is very, very important information. And we want to make sure that everybody is able to be healthy and live the best life that they possibly can. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, jacob@metapureproducts.com. You can go to online at metapure.net, and please follow our blog at mympHforlife.com. Feel free to email us any comments. If there's a topic that you'd like us to discuss, we're more than open to hear what you have to say as well. Thank you and have a great day.